am, God willing, graduating in 3 days. I'm so excited, and I'm so grateful to my parents and so grateful to God for the unmatched opportunity and privilege to get my degree in literature. In every literature course that I've ever taken, modern British, Chaucer, Milton, Shakespeare, Renaissance, medieval, Greek and Roman, Victorian, I have seen the utter insignificance of women. We couldn't own property, we couldn't hold political positions, we couldn't inherit our parents, we couldn't work at all. We were barred from higher education and married at 17 while our younger brothers were shipped off to university. We couldn't be religious leaders, we couldn't give sermons in temple, we couldn't vote, we couldn't be lawyers or doctors. We were burned at the stake for being witches. We were sold and are still sold into prostitution. We were used and valued solely for our bodies. And then there was coverture, which literally means covering, that a woman was covered by her husband. She was a minor, and her husband was her connection to the world. We were married off to men 3 times our age. We were married to men we didn't love because we couldn't work and we needed security, we needed money. Husbands were equivalent to masters. And in 1848, a band of fed-up women came together and wrote up and drafted a document that has burned itself into my soul. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The history of mankind is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations on the part of man toward woman, having absolute tyranny over her. He has endeavored in every way that he could to destroy her confidence in her powers, to lessen her self-respect, and to make her willing to lead a dependent and abject life. And after hundreds of years of women fighting for the significance of women, I want to ask you, how are you feeling? How confident are you in your powers? What's your self-respect like? Does woman really have what she needs to pursue happiness? Is she truly confident in her own powers? Or is there a certain tyranny that rules over her still? Our external shackles may have been cast off, but we are so often locked up inside. I sometimes feel like after being treated as inferior for thousands of years, that we've begun to believe it and have somewhat lost sight of what it is to be a woman. Those first wave feminists were fighting for something more than physical freedom. They were fighting for something holy, more sacred than you will ever understand or know. They were fighting for the freedom of the feminine spirit. That it can be powerful, that it can be unleashed in all of its beauty. That is how the feminist movement began. Women felt that they would die, that they would just expire if their brains weren't used, if their minds weren't stimulated, if they could not make their own decisions, if they could not exercise their own inherent powers. Listen to these quotes from real women that I interviewed for this book that I'm writing. I assumed naturally that male attention is a good thing, and I should be grateful for it. I took it as a compliment. If I caught a guy staring at me, it was something that fueled me. When I got attention from men, I felt like a somebody, and this was at 11, 12, maybe 13. I felt validated through male attention. I didn't realize how a lot of that attention I was getting had nothing to do with me. It's like when you hook up with a guy, you think that he thinks that you're special. Really, it has nothing to do with you. Second quote. His attention became addicting. The more situations you get in like this, the more your self-esteem drops. These situations can make you feel worthless. I feel worthless. It's ridiculous, but it's true. Third quote, men liking me was a validation of my worth. I became valuable because I had someone. It was addicting. It's so hard. I don't even know what the solution is. How many of you can't get out of bed when he doesn't call you back? That is not freedom. How many of you become chameleons, shape-shifting smaller and smaller and smaller for a man to love you? That is not freedom. How many of you spend more time sculpting your body than sharpening your mind? That is not freedom. How many of you have to pull down your shirt or hike up your skirt to get that job that you want? That is not freedom. The first wave feminists were on their hands and knees digging this path so that we would one day bring their vision to life. That women would finally embrace their natural and inherent powers. We don't need anyone to make room for us. We clear out space for our greatness on our own. Stay thirsty.